Cannot hear you, Lindsay. Is it me?
Good day, everyone.
Hi. Hello.
I pause this while we wait for people. It's on.
I was joking. I wanted to capture your remark about not working during PTO on video. Welcome to the Threat Insights group conversation.
I never said that. It wasn't recorded. Should we get on with the agenda? And if Matt comes, yeah, all right. So follow up from previous discussions. I added something there. Oh, it's mine. Good. How convenient. So if I remember correctly, we now have an epic for this. And just as a refresher, this came up because we were trying to add a comment to the state changes, and then we found out that we couldn't add comments to all the state changes, just some of the transitions supported it. So now there's an epic to fix the tech debt on that, but Andy had some comments in there, so I'll let him verbalize.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this, I don't want to derail the work that's started, but it also kind of changed after Matt said that there has to be some auditability to this work, right? But we were exploring new designs that would decouple the commenting from the status change. So almost like how we do it in issues today, where you see activity, adds labels, removes labels, all this stuff, and then comments intermixed between that. So kind of freeform commenting is somewhere where we want to go with vulnerabilities. And we might not need to necessarily tie those to the direct action of so-and-so change state, comment below. We really kind of, I guess, like backed into that as a forcing function for users to comment on the status they are changing without having the UI component of that comment field accessible on the vulnerability details page. So that was kind of like the history of that component. So the auditability thing makes this tougher. Right? So
we did look into Notable. I made that suggestion, and Jonathan and Shubhashis were on the call, so either one can give a brief overview of why we didn't do the Notable.
Because it was free form, and we didn't realize that was the ideal situation for the front end. Because we wanted to, our thought was that we would, couple the state change with the comments directly.
Well, we haven't done any extra work yet, and we had already done the comment using the feedback record anyway, so that work was already done. So we could still revisit the epic if we think it's worth it. It just means that whatever's already been done, the comment field for the transition that does support it, which I think is the dismissed,
Only
isn't it?
Dismiss. Yeah, only dismiss.
That would need to be migrated to something else. But yeah, right now we're on the path of leaving state changes coupled with the comment.
Okay. I wonder if it would be helpful to identify the solution to this problem, specifically around what customers' expectations are in terms of the auditability of vulnerabilities and what information they want to see, right? Is it that the dismissal reason alone, like dismiss false positive, that feature that we'll be working on, is that enough? Or is like an articulated comment from a human as to why this was dismissed what people are after? And how do they want that information presented too? Is there an expectation that these comments go into the CSV download? Is there an expectation that they can see this in the vulnerability table, right? So maybe there's some problem validation that would help kind of steer the direction of these like larger backend changes.
If we can validate, if we have more certainty, it's probably better. These things are complicated as it is.
Yeah.
And right now we have a nice path to clean up the problem with the feedback model. We can always refactor it to split the comments back into notable if that's what we decide to do. I don't know what's Shubhash's and Jonathan think? Any opinion there?
I think the whole discussion came from, correct me if I'm wrong, Jonathan, came from like there were other issues as well, like from the feedback and vulnerability models things, and what we can do to we can make it one model. That's the can get rid of the feedback model. That will get, we will, the ripple effect will be, we will get rid of other problems that can see what we were discussing in the videos as well. So we were taking this as an opportunity to work through this, and it will solve both problems. And also I just want to add on the audit issues. The audit issues itself is like what we proposed in the videos or like in the Epic. It's pretty easy. Like it's a small model which will only track where it's coming from. That part is not, I think the bigger issue in the Epic is like whether we are getting rid of feedback model or not and creating the vulnerability itself. Yeah, I don't know. Am I answering the correct thing or not? Yeah.
No, I mean,
you are. It's all good
Yeah,
context. Sorry, Jonathan, you had something to add?
no, I was actually going to just say that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's because the feedback model does not do everything we need to do, or at the moment, because it only works for certain states.
On top of that, Andy, you'd be happy to know that we resurfaced the one-to-one, one-to-many vulnerability versus finding discussion.
Like a phoenix from the ashes.
Yeah, we're not tackling it right now, but now that we know that it's very unlikely that we're going to use that for grouping findings, because we have other directions for grouping like CWE and whatnot. We are inclined to write something to clean that up and get rid of either findings or get rid of vulnerabilities, but just have one record to rule them all.
And that might be helpful once we start going down the path of filtering by other branches if we go into a vulnerability record.
Or we do also, as part of this thing was great because it triggered all these other discussions. We, as part of that, we also talked about instead of only flagging this is on the default branch or not on the default branch, we thought about the concept of a source, vulnerability source. Where did it come from? Oh, it came from a branch. All right, which branch did it come from? Oh, it was the default. No, it was another branch. No, it didn't come from a branch. It came from an environment. All right, what environment? Production, staging? Did you define your other environment? And then that can be extensible, right? If we come up with other locations and values for sources.
That'd be huge.
This is coming a little bit from container security, because when you scan a container in an environment, that container doesn't necessarily correspond to the default branch, doesn't correspond to other branch. It might correspond to any other point in the reference. And the DAST on-demand scanner can correspond to any website on the internet that you authorize to scan. So it doesn't even, it's not even so.
Okay, awesome. So
stay tuned. Stay tuned.
I will keep all of this in mind. So it says like you've reached a stable approach with the feedback model. And any designs we're exploring in the near term will match that. So we won't just design out an uncoupled comment. So we'll keep all of that coupled until we kind of reach a larger decision on what to do with the feedback model in general.
Just taking notes.
Yep.
Did we cover your second point, or did you want
to? Basically saying I redesigned it, decoupling it. So ignore that. I'll move some pixels around. It would be nice to support general commenting on the vulnerability details page, but that can be done separate. And then perhaps in a new model, potential model, we could this idea of open closed versus kind of the myriad of statuses we have, where closed would be the things that need to be audited, right? Why was this fixed?
Yeah.
How was it fixed? Why was this dismissed? Why, as then the open is like, these things are open, they have open issues, they're being worked on, et cetera, et cetera. And then we have a lot more flexibility in the UI to present kind of a default list like we do today of open vulnerabilities, which is just the pre-filtered state of detected and confirmed. That's down the road, but just something to chew on.
Cool. Thanks very much. Anyone else got anything to add on this? Should we move on? Demos. Lindsay, do you want to be Savash?
Sure. Savash enhanced our vulnerability, our trends line, our trends chart on the project security dashboard to include the icons at the top that allow you to choose dates and download the image. So we've identified that there's a need to update the eCharts library that's being used in GitLab UI that could resolve some of these bugs. But overall, we believe it's adding value. So it's staying up as is. And Savash is also working now on the additional issue, which is around adding the date ranges. Is that right, Andy? The second one that's missing here? I can pull it up, but I know that there's another enhancement coming shortly on the tails of this.
Yeah, there's like a slider that can go at the bottom.
Right.
Yeah. So we are going to update to the new eCharts version.
Well, that's what I was chatting with Savash about in our one-on-one this morning. That came up in part of the review with, I think it was Ezekiel, the maintainer. So we're gonna look to see what the effort would be. It could be as easy as just updating it and there's no breaking changes, but the testing on that could be hard. So I asked Matt if he was okay with us taking a little bit of time out of one of the next couple of milestones to take on some of the debt that's been building up around eChart since we're one of the users of it.
Okay. You can get UI polish credit for the next OKR too, if you wanted to.
KR.
Yep.
And Dave is not here, but this is about the issue for planning breakdown. So we were talking yesterday, I think this might have gone just as easily under the other discussions, but there's a lot of people focused right now on the generic security report schema, which is fantastic. It's the top priority on Matt's list right now. And Dave's question is around testing. So he can mock the data until he's blue in the face, but we should put together a plan as a team on how we're going to generate some test data, exercise the various cases. This may be something we want to pull in other secure groups for. I know that Cameron Swords has already been helping Dave out a little bit with like here are the higher priority items that we're looking to use more immediately. So we're prioritizing those.
Not only that, Cam has actually picked up the backend issue for us. So he's implementing it. Super stoked about that. And he might have a suggestion on how to test this locally, because I saw a comment of his in the merge request offering help to the reviewer to say, hey, if you want to run this locally, you can do this, this, and that. So he and Dave are in the same time zone. If they want to sync up, he'll probably get what he needs from Cam.
So I know that we've got another issue that's in progress right now around generating that schema for the front end to consume. I'm assuming that that backend issue is going to run into these same questions as well around, in getting all that data into the database, or like getting scan results to consume into the database to exercise the full end to end there.
That's the one. I think
Yeah.
that's the one I'm talking about. I think we're talking about the same one.
Oh, that's the one that Cam's picked up. Okay,
Yeah.
I see. Cool.
So he's got it already. The MR is up, so he's already run that locally. So he definitely has a way of consuming that. And we're done. Anyone for any more? No? All right. Have a lovely day or afternoon or evening, wherever you may be. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
I'll upload this later. Bye.